Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, getting of all praise is the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the Earthly Mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledge Yahweh Shai. I pray the Most High bless this lesson this evening. Gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past in order to understand events that are currently happening on the earth. So we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. This picture here is very telling, and it just kind of just shows you where we are right now. These other nations have pretty much just taken everything that we used to do, tried to get that power again, and we're going to get into that today. We're talking about saints. See, they made it sound as if, praying to saints or, acknowledging our ancestors is something that is evil. But that's actually something that was a practice that us Israelites did. And the church just started to go ahead and do it with their people and got us in their churches doing the exact same thing, but getting our prayers because, like always, they need our prayers. Okay. Now let's check this out. Now just take a look here, like St. Peter's Square right there. Right here is the area right here for a Teotihuacan. It's set up almost exactly the same. So they came over here, found this, got this information, and went back to their areas and set everything up just the same way. Exactly the same thing. So the whole thing about acknowledging saints and things like that, that's actually something that our people used to do. But it's hidden in books like this. Ceremony, the religious ceremonies and customs of the several nations of the known world. Okay? This book is ridiculous with the amount of information that it has. So, as the other nations are now starting to tell on each other and go at each other, it's important for us to realize what kinds of things we used to do before. Things that they've always tried to make it seem as if it's somehow evil or things that we have never done before. I'm going to skip this part first and go right here. Right here in the middle where it says, actually, let me go all the way. Here it's nice and big. Look at the very top. The Jews honor the memory of their saints and martyrs, okay, by a sort of diptychs. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Amongst these, we meet with one Isaac de Castro of Tartus, whom the Portuguese burnt alive at Lisbon. He suffering with great constancy. The Jews of that nation at Amsterdam look upon him as a saint. Now, see, they didn't get any of these things about saints and on their own. Again, they came and we honored our saints and we honored our martyrs. Okay, we honored the ones who came before us. We honored our ancestors. So that's something that they always want to sound like the natives here do, but that's something that our Israelites used to do. Okay, now, so of this number is reckoned one Silva, a physician, whom the Spaniards would have burnt too, but a violent tempest put out the fire. This miracle is one of those of the most modern. The chains fell from the feet and hands of another going to be burnt in Portugal, and he had the good fortune of escape, or rather vanish, by the help of an invisible power. Now, see, remember, they're always talking about us being magicians, right? Us practicing witchcraft, things like that. That was our power, sending angels to help us. So it's like they wanted to hide all this information. They wanted to hide the fact that the Most High had angels, had entities, had spirits helping us. It wasn't just they could just do whatever they wanted to do. The Most High was still, in the mix, doing things in our favor, and we're always trying to hide that fact. And we're going to see great things like these events again. So again, the chains fell from the feet and hands of another going to be burnt in Portugal, and he had the good fortune of escape, or rather, okay, vanish by the help of an invisible power. Another named Lopez de Vera, who turned Jew and afterwards called himself Judah the Believer, suffered burning with so great a constancy and such strong assurances of his eternal salvation that his judges were almost confounded at it. By these examples, one may judge that the constancy of martyrs is not always the effect of divine assistance. So they're going to kind of go off on some other tangents, but just letting you know that we did acknowledge our saints and our martyrs. And that's something that we've begun to do again. These were the ones who made a way for us to be here at this time. Their prayers have manifested us to be here at this time. And it's a beautiful thing. So let's go ahead and go back real fast, because there's another whole story that kind of reminds you of the story of David, you know, and the priest at Babylon. These things that make it sound like it's only happened back then, that the Most High has not been in the mix ever since. Remember, they act like as if, after 70 AD, at the end of Revelation, the Most High has been silent. But the Most High has been in the mix, but they want to hide all that information. So, saints of the Jewish church, all right, since the second destruction of Jerusalem, and several miracles performed by them. See, they knew that we had saints, we had martyrs, we had people that we held in reverence. But these are in these really expensive books that the vast majority of people are not going to be able to see. They thought that saints were something that was started by the Catholic Church. But this is something, again, that they have copied from the Israelites. A fruitful source of prodigies and miracles are to be found in the history of Joseph ben Gurion, who may very justly be called the Jacobus Virgin of the Jews. But without going thither from them, we shall barely confine ourselves to a few remarkable instances. Moimonides, okay, is too noted an example to be omitted. The birth of this Jewish doctor in 1131 was owing to a resolution of his father to break through, okay, the celibacy in which he had before determined to live. However, Maimon, the father of Moses, Moimonides, would not venture upon anything in so weighty an affair without some particular express revelation. He flattered himself that an order from heaven might well discharge him from a vow rashly entered into, and his hopes were not in vain, for he learned in a dream that he was from the time allowed to marry, and the daughter of a butcher was pointed out to him in his sleep, who was the mother of Maimonides, and died in bringing him into the world. The father, who had taken a liking to matrimony, soon brought young Moses home a mother-in-law of a very ill temper. He was beaten and ill used, whereupon, making his escape to the top of the synagogue, he there fell asleep, and from a dull, heavy lad before, became at his waking a man of parts and wit. Nor was this the first miracle of the kind. Hesiod, I think here, a mean shepherd in Boeotia, had 1800 years before Maimonides' birth, dreamt that he was become a poet. Okay, and upon waking, found himself really so. This Jew had afterwards a share in the Sultan of Egypt's favor, okay, which drew upon him the jealousy of the Mohammedan physicians, kind of like the same thing with David, right? When the king took a liking to David, right, and they wanted to get rid of him. Same thing is going on right here. Check this out. They forced him to drink poison, okay, presuming that Maimonides' skill must give way to the strength of it. He swallowed it without receiving any harm, and on his side killed 10 of those physicians by forcing them to undergo the same trial, kind of like the same with Daniel in the lion's den. Made him stay in the lion's den all night long, and the lions, didn't do anything to him. So they made those priests go in there, and the lions, devoured them. Same kind of thing is going on right here. So see, these miracles and these stories have still been going on, but the other nations have been trying to suppress these matters, suppress the fact that the Most High is still working with his people. They always make it sound like it's a 400 years of silence or a 2,000 years of silence, but that is not the case. It says, he was then accused of an attempt upon the Sultan's life, and thereupon ordered to have his veins opened. But he saved his life by a vein unknown to everybody but himself, which none of our most skillful anatomists, okay, have since discovered. So long as this vein remains unopened, there can be no effusion of blood. Whilst Maimonides was going to the grave, a gang of thieves set upon the procession, which took to their heels and left the dead corpse, which the thieves had endeavored to throw into the sea. But the wretches, little thinking they had to do with a saint, could not compass their design of carrying him away. Rabbi Judas, okay, the pious, was very near dying before he was born. A hay cart having like to have crushed his mother, then with child of him to pieces, who unfortunately happened to be between the cart and the wall, but God commanded the walls to give back, so that the big bellied woman had room to save herself in the hollow of it. The Jews honor the memory of their saints and martyrs by a sort of diptychs, okay? Okay, among these we meet, and again, they're going to talk about more and more of these, and we're going to continue to talk about more of our um, ancestors here because they've hidden this information, and we're going to bring this information out for all to see. The Most High has been dealing with his people, has been, time to time stepping in. He's always been working in our lives and making it so that we would be here in these days. And it's a beautiful thing. And I want to make sure that we give all praises and honor to the Most High, and thanking him again for sending us the Holy Spirit and bringing back our practices before. We were the ones who were honoring our saints, right? Honoring our ancestors. And I feel that that's definitely something that we should be doing once again. So again, this is just more proof that these churches have done nothing but just hide, steal our information, make it seem as if it's something new that they brought out, all the while trying to get us into their churches, onto those ley lines and give them power. But it's not going to happen anymore. Shalom.